Let's face it, some decisions are life and death. When it comes to HIV, one of the most important ways to prevent the spread of this disease is through testing. If you've engaged in any high-risk behaviors, even just once, you should take the test for yourself and for your loved ones. High-risk behaviors include any type of sex where body fluids are exchanged and sharing needles of any kind. There are lots of places in Kern County where you can be tested for HIV. Anyone over the age of 12 can come in and take the test, and most places offer free testing. Like this one. This is the Kern County Health Department. It's located just north of East High School. It's the big white building on the corner. The staff who work here are really committed to your health. Denise Smith, she's the AIDS program coordinator. She makes sure the testing is accurate and confidential. She says lots of people get tested.
Lots of people are getting tested. Half of the people that come into our clinic are teenagers. The critical thing is we want to make sure people are getting tested so that we can see if there's an infection going on, so that we can make sure they get to the proper medical care that they need.
If you decide to come into the health department here on Mount Vernon, just walk to the front window and tell the receptionist that you want to take the HIV antibody test. The receptionist will assign you a number, hand you an information brochure, and ask you to take a seat in the waiting room.
Number 64.
An HIV counselor will walk you to a private room and discuss your reasons for wanting to be tested. They'll ask you some serious personal questions. It'll take about 15 minutes. Then you'll be given an option of taking one of two rapid tests or a blood draw. The rapid test can be either a small amount of blood taken from the fingertip or having your gum wiped with an oral swab test. A single drop of blood can be collected from the fingertip using a lancet, and with the collection loop is placed in a vial of developer solution for 20 minutes. A line crossing the control line C indicates a negative test, whereas a line crossing the C and the test line T indicates the person is positive for HIV. The same applies to the oral swab test. This test does not use saliva, but rather absorbs antibodies directly from the blood vessels in the mouth. Like the blood test, the oral test looks for antibodies to HIV, not the virus itself. Like I said, the results of these tests take only 20 minutes. You'll be asked to wait in the waiting room during this time until the test results are confirmed, then called back in to have the results read to you. Most other clinics and hospitals offer only the blood draw. In this test, blood is taken from the inside of the arm. After the blood is taken, the collection tube is carefully marked with the same exact number that's on your test form right in front of you to make sure they match. This guarantees that you're given your test results and not someone else's. The results of this test usually take about a week, at which time you'll revisit the health department to meet with a counselor. These tests are over 99% accurate. However, if the results were positive, a small amount of blood will be drawn for a secondary confirmation test, and the results will be ready in a week. All counseling sessions are one-on-one, just the HIV counselor and the person being tested. You'll meet in a private room during each visit. The HIV counselor will also discuss the availability of additional STD testing to those at risk. All of this information is completely confidential. It's only given to you. Now that you've been informed, make an informed decision. If you've put yourself at risk, even just once, go get tested. If you are negative, you need to return for a follow-up test in 6 months because you may have tested negative due to the fact HIV antibodies weren't yet present in your blood. It takes as long as 6 months for the antibodies to develop. This length of time is called the window period. You also need to avoid all high-risk behaviors during this time, or your follow-up test may not be valid. If you are HIV positive, the counselors will educate you about the virus, how to prevent spreading the virus, visiting a doctor about your condition, and medicines that might be necessary. With proper care, people with HIV are living much longer today. Okay, let's review. You go in, talk to an HIV counselor, you get tested. Either in 20 minutes or a week later, you go back for the results. You've got to avoid risky behaviors and go in for a follow-up test in 6 months. This is an important decision, isn't it, Mrs. Smith?
It really is. The bad news is if the test is positive, your life will never be the same again. But if the test is negative, it's 100% preventable. So if you've had risky behavior, come in and get a test. It's free and it's confidential. We're here to help you.